Whenever you feel convenient, we can start. We can start 5-10 minutes late. Also, no issues, right?
Okay, sir. Just let them join. Just let them join.
Now I have taken enough time, so I have already informed the director, so there is no problem, right?
Okay, sir.
Okay, na? Right. So whenever you feel like starting, we'll start. Even 5 minutes late, also no issues.
Okay, sir.
Sangramji, if you want, we can start. I am ready.
Yes, sir. We can start.
Almost 50 participants have joined almost.
So, good afternoon, participants. Now, we are at the second session of the day. So, before beginning, I just introducing the expert. On behalf of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, National Institute of Technology, Sikkim, it is my privilege and pleasure to welcome Professor Rama Challa, Associate Dean and Head of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, National Institute of Technical Teachers Training and Research, Chandigarh, in this session to deliver an expert lecture on symmetric key cryptography challenges and solutions. Professor Ramakrishna is an eminent academician and has more than 26 years of teaching, research, and administrative experience. He was awarded PhD from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. His research area includes wireless communication and networks, computer networks, cryptography and cybersecurity, cloud computing, etc. Professor Ramakrishna is a senior member of IEEE and fellow of NIT. He has published more than 200 research papers in national, international journals and conferences of repute. His research articles are well recognized by the eminent scientists and researchers throughout the globe that achieve nearly 1,329 citations till today with H index 19 and I-10 index 35. So welcome, sir, for spending your valuable time with us. Now I request you to deliver your lecture.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Sangram. My voice is clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, that's great. Let me share the screen. Yeah, is this screen is visible? Is this screen is visible, Dr. Sangram, or participants?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, so voice is clear, screen is visible, right? And only thing is I can't see you because I'm in the presentation mode, and I believe that you all will be sincerely participating in this 1.5 hour talk. And I'll try to keep you awake as much as possible because we'll be solving some small problems, right, in between. And I request all the participants to be active and keep your notebook and pen ready. Or maybe some calculator also may be required. You can keep the calculator also ready so that you can get involved in between. And it is your responsibility also to keep me awake because after the lunchtime, taking class is very tough for the teacher also, for the students also. So it is both of us responsibilities that I should keep you awake and you should keep me awake. Okay, so with these words, I thank once again Dr. Sangram for extending invitation to deliver a talk on this symmetric key cryptography. What are the challenges and what are the various solutions already existing? Okay, so before I start my talk, I always...
Sir, your slide is not visible now.
Oh, is it so? Voice is coming?
Voice is coming, sir.
Okay, let me close it. Yeah, participants, right? This is what is a check. So, yes, 1 minute. What about now?
Yes, sir. Now it's okay.
Okay, that's great. Okay, is it visible now, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll spend around 1.5 hours on this symmetric cryptography. What are the challenges and what are the solutions that have been already proposed and being used in practice? So I always start with this wonderful quotation, which is valid, right? Today, the time that has gone, the time that is going to come. 3 people can keep a secret as secret only if 2 of them are dead. Thanks to Benjamin Franklin. He has summarized our nature of keeping the thing secret in one line. 3 people can keep a secret, only 2 of them are dead. So now you understand that keeping confidential, keeping something secret is a very tough job for human beings. We all might have experienced in our lives because we live in a society, we live in a family. So it is very difficult to keep something secret or confidential. Even if you try to keep it, right, people will try to be behind you so that you will be able to speak out what you have kept it as secret. So very, very nice quotation given by Benjamin Franklin. So before we exactly go into our topic of symmetric key cryptography, the few terms, right, you will be knowing it, many of you will be knowing it, but just as a recap quickly, we'll go and then we'll enter into our topic. So whenever we talk about cryptography, these 2 terms will be coming again and again, the encryption and decryption. So one of the very important tool to maintain secrecy or confidentiality of your messages. So encryption is done at the sender side, the person who is transmitting the data. It is basically a process or a conversion of input plain text into a ciphertext. So plain text is the language, just like I am speaking in English and you all know English. So then it is a plain text. So I am speaking in English, you are understanding also in the same language. So we convert this plain text into a ciphertext, a text which is only can be converted back or to be understood by a particular receiver or intended destination only. That's the purpose of this encryption. So that all unauthorized, unintended destination should not be able to understand, underline the word understand, the ciphertext. Anybody can capture the ciphertext by sniffing or whatever tools that they can use it. So unless until they decrypt it and make a meaningful text out of it, so it is not going to be useful for them. So encryption is basically conversion of plain text to ciphertext done by the sender or transmitter. Decryption is done by the intended receiver, intended destination, which is the inverse process of encryption. That is conversion of received ciphertext from the sender back to the original plain text, right? So that the ciphertext is actually transmitted, so that even the hackers, if they get this ciphertext, as I told you, anybody can get it using sniffing tools, but they should not be able to decrypt it in real time. So as long as they cannot do it, then your plain text is safe. So this is a small example, right? This is the plain text that I wanted to transmit as a sender. Hello, Rama, this is the plain text. So I apply the encryption process on this plain text. Then I get this type of, let us say, ciphertext. Okay, so when you look at the ciphertext and when you look at the original text, the encryption process has done some transformation on this plain text and produced a ciphertext which is not meaningful, unless until you decrypt it successfully. So this ciphertext is actually transmitted on the channel, and this is being received, and they see the next diagram, and it is received by the receiver, right? And then it applies the decryption process, which is exactly the inverse of encryption process, and then get back to the plain text, right? So hello Rama was the one which was transmitted by the sender, and hello Rama was the one which is decrypted by the receiver after applying this decryption process on the ciphertext. So what are the important aspects when we talk about encryption and decryption? So when you look at it, this encryption and decryption, there are 2 things are very important. One is the algorithms. That some of them we are going to see today. Like you have symmetric cryptography algorithms, you have asymmetric cryptography algorithms, right? So these algorithms are very, very important, very, very important. And other important, the most important is the key. So whenever you talk about encryption and decryption, algorithm is important, and the more important is the key. And if you look at the characteristics of both of them, algorithms are in general public, means they are available as standards, right? So you can go to RFCs, or you can go to standardizing bodies, whichever has standardized it. So you can go there, you can get the document, you can understand the working of the entire algorithm. It can be a symmetric cryptography algorithm, it can be asymmetric key, right? In the symmetric key, you have number of algorithms. You have data encryption standard 1, data encryption standard 3, then you have your AES advanced encryption standard, right? Then you have in the asymmetric category, you have your RSA, you have your ECC, and many more algorithms. So all these algorithms, right, they are public in nature. That means they are open. You can download them, you can understand the document, and you can implement it on your own for various applications depending on the requirement. So what is the important aspect is the key. So key is supposed to be kept secret. Key is supposed to be kept secret, right? Because algorithms are public. That means even the hackers also can download it, right? And you can read from books, and you can understand how it is going to work. Entire understanding, you can do it. But the key is supposed to be kept secret, right? This you should remember. The algorithm is public in general, unless until it is patented, they don't want to give it, right? Otherwise, they're going to be public. So key is the one which is going to play an important role for providing security to your information and data. So you have two types of cryptography based on this key. So one we are going to talk about is symmetric cryptography. And the symmetric cryptography had some challenges that we will see in the coming up slides. So therefore, one of the solution for the symmetric cryptography problem is asymmetric key cryptography. So symmetric cryptography came first. There are some challenges in this. There are many good things also with symmetric cryptography. To resolve those challenges, we have come to this asymmetric key cryptography. So we'll try to see both of them depending on the time. So this is a simple diagram of how symmetric cryptography works. So you have a sender A here and you have a receiver B here. And as I told you that sender wants to send this plain text to the receiver B, right? So this plain text is put through encryption process with symmetric key K, symmetric key K. And then this encryption process with symmetric key produces a ciphertext. So this ciphertext is transmitted over a network, right? Internet in this case. And then it is being received by the receiver. And what the receiver is doing, receiver is applying this decryption process with symmetric key K, very important, right? I told you that when you do encryption on the sender side, the reverse operation on the receiver side is called decryption. But here you can see key is same, right? It's symmetric key K with symmetric key K. That means whatever key that you have used along with this encryption algorithm, the same key has to be used while you decrypt it at the receiver side. And we always know that the sender and receiver are separated by a geographical distance. And then you get back to the plain text. And then receiver is able to understand it. Okay, we will see the challenges, right? One immediate challenge you can see here in this slide is, if same key has to be used by the sender, by the corresponding receiver, then how to share this symmetric key with the receiver? That is one of the challenge that we will also see later, right? How to share this key, symmetric key. See, our problem is to transfer the plain text safely. So to transfer the plain text safely, we need to have the symmetric key for this algorithm working. And now the question comes is, your plain text is going in a safer mode. But the question comes here, how to share the symmetric key with the receiver safely, right? You are trying to solve one problem, but you created another problem, that how to share the symmetric key safely. So symmetric key cryptography, right? Same key is used for encryption and decryption as we have seen in the previous slide. The popular practical examples of symmetric key cryptography is one is the DES, data encryption standard, right? which was almost standardized before many of us are not born in this world, right? Even if you are born, you may be small children, including myself. Before that itself, this DES, right, has been standardized. And DES 1 was the first version. Then later on, DES 2 came into picture, but DES 2 suffers from meet in the middle attack. So therefore, DES 2 was not recommended for implementation. Then they came up with DES 3, right, with 3 unique keys and 2 unique keys. So DES having 2 variants currently, DES 1 and DES 3. Then you have this IDEA, International Data Encryption Algorithm, IDEA. Then you have this RC5, RC6, right, reverse cipher 5, reverse cipher 6. Then you have this blowfish. Then you have one more popular algorithm which is used in many applications these days is Advanced Encryption Standard. So you might have come across this DES and its variants. You might have come across this Advanced Encryption Standard, right? All of you are using these Wi-Fi networks these days, right? Everywhere at home, in the office. So your Wi-Fi security also, this WPA 1 and 2 uses this Advanced Encryption Standard for securing your Wi-Fi networks. Right? Even some places you might have seen this RC5 also being used. So there are many more, right? This is a small list that I have given. There are many more symmetric cryptography algorithms. So these algorithms are very popular. And as I told you, that very important, DES has been standardized before many of us are not born in this world. Right, so that makes it very significant that many of us do not know what is internet, many of us do not know how to use internet, how to use internet services, and there is a team which is talking about security for the applications that are going to be coming up on the internet. So all these symmetric algorithms, one good feature is they are very fast. They're very fast because they use simple operations, right? We'll see maybe DES, right, in a broadly. So you'll appreciate that we'll be using operations like permutations. Sometimes we use expansion permutation. Sometimes we use compression permutation. Then we'll be using shifting operations, right? Left shift or right shift, either circular shift, right? These type of operations we'll be using. Some lookup tables we'll be using it. And then at the best, right, you will be using exclusive OR operation. Exclusive OR operation is popularly used. Right, so exclusive OR often is one logical operation, but rest is all this type of permutations, right? Like expansion permutation, initial permutation, final permutation, compression permutation, right? No computational intensive mathematics, right? No additions, no subtractions, no divisions, no multiplications, no exponentiations. So you don't find such type of things in this usually in the symmetric cryptography. So they are very, very fast. Whether you implement them in hardware, whether you implement them in software, purely software, right? So one good characteristic of symmetric cryptography is they're very fast. That is one of the requirement of any cryptography algorithm to be used in practice. They have to be very fast, computationally less intensive. At the same time, they have to provide the level of security that is required for the applications. So we'll see a brief about this data encryption standard, right? Rest of the things you can study it on your own. Like I understand that this course is being planned, so give a flavor of several things so that whatever you like it, you can start working further on that particular direction. So as it is written here, most widely used block cipher in the world today, data encryption standard, most widely used, developed, standardized, right? And it was adopted in 1977 by National Bureau of Standards, USA. Right? That's the reason I told you, right? I do not know in the participants how many of you are born by 1977, right? If you are born, you may be a small child only, right? Small child only. So just imagine, right? Why I highlighted this is 1977, when none of us, even our fathers and forefathers, right, who were on this earth at that time, maybe they were in a age to contribute something. We may not be having access to a good computer in 1977, what we are seeing today in India. Right, but 1977 that could not be the case, right? That could not be the case. But there is a team which is talking about a security algorithm, security cryptographic algorithm for securing the messages, and it was adopted in 1977. That means it was finalized by this National Bureau of Standards, USA. Now it is called NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technology. We all know it. And this DES is also known by several names, right? It is called as DEA, Data Encryption Algorithm by ANSI. and DEA 1 by ISO. So you need not have to be confused whether it is DES, whether it is DEA, whether it is DEA 1, all refers to data encryption standard. The crux of this DES is it encrypts a 64-bit data. That means one block of plain text will be having 64 bits. One block of plain text will be having 64 bits. Like that, you will be having a multiple blocks of data, because that means your data, when you receive it, you have to divide that into a 64-bit blocks. That is the requirement of this algorithm as input, and then you will be using a 56-bit. Actually, your key is also 64 bits. So you can say that 64-bit plain text block along with the 64-bit key, that is later on transformed into a 56-bit key. Later on, it is transformed into a 48-bit key, right? So that is called a key transformation process, right? But in the books, it is written as 64 bits plain text and 56-bit key. But actually, the key is 64 bits. Transform to 56, transform further to 48. Actual key that is used is the 48 bits in the algorithm. So what is the history? Very important to understand this history also. So IBM developed a Lucifer cipher before 1977. And it was by a team led by Dr. Horst Fiestel. Right? Those who are familiar with this subject of cryptography and cyber security, you might have heard about something called a Fiestel structure. Fiestel structure is something similar to DES, because DES is actually derived from this Lucifer cipher or Fiestel structure only, right? So this IBM used 64-bit plain text block. One block size is 64 bits with 128-bit key. Right? The DES, which is standardized in 1977, based on this Lucifer cipher, is using only 64-bit and then 56 and then 48. But the original standard, right, original idea given by IBM before 1977, they are talking about a 128-bit key. Very, very important. The size of the key also plays a very important role when we talk about security, right? So in 1973, National Bureau of Standards, USA, issued requests for proposals for a national cipher standard for security. So IBM has already developed it, that's Fiestel structure. So IBM submitted a revised Lucifer, right? That means whatever they have developed as a Fiestel structure, they have revised it and then submitted to this NBS, National Bureau of Standards, later on, which was accepted as data encryption standard. So data encryption standard is basically the foundation is laid with the help of this Fiestel structure developed by IBM. And IBM suggested we on 128-bit key in their original Lucifer cipher, but DES has standardized a 64-bit key and further transformed into 56 and 48. Very, very important. How does it look like, right? From the bird's eye view, right? How does this conceptual view of DES look like, right? That's what I was telling you. The DES input is 64-bit plain text. Like that, you have a number of blocks depending on the size of your information that is to be shared. And 56-bit key, actually, you remember that it is originally 64-bit, 56, and then transformed to 48. And that is one exactly it is going to be used within the algorithm. So it uses a 64-bit plain text as input, and it also produces a 64-bit ciphertext. Another good feature of this symmetric cryptography techniques in general is the amount of ciphertext after transformation is equal to the amount of input plain text, right? In this case, you can see 64-bit input plain text that you are given, and it is also producing 64-bit ciphertext. Okay, so like that, each block will be processed with the help of this DES along with each of the input plain text blocks, and corresponding you will get a ciphertext block. In a nutshell, right, in 1 or 2 slides, I am going to explain, but details you can read it from any of the books. But crux, I am explaining it to you how it is going to work. The algorithm is designed to encrypt and decrypt blocks of data consisting of 64 bits using a 64-bit key, right? 64-bit key. And the entire algorithm is summarized in this second bullet. A plain text block to be encrypted is subjected to an initial permutation, IP, we'll see in the next diagram, and then to a complex key-dependent computations, very important. Then to a complex key-dependent computations, very important, right? There are a lot of steps are involved in these complex key-dependent computations that we'll see in the next slide. And finally, to a permutation, which is inverse of initial permutation. As I told you that these algorithms are very fast because They maximum use these permutations, various kinds of initial permutation, final permutation, compression permutation, expansion permutation, right? Then shifting operations also, right? Circular left shift or right shift, and this type of kind of operations will be used. Okay. So the final permutation is exactly the inverse of the initial permutation that you perform on the plain text. So this diagram, when you look at it, right, this is a little bit more detailed diagram, right? More detailed diagram. So plain text is 64 bits for one block I am showing. It passes through initial permutation. Right? After that, you divide this initially permuted plain text of 64 bit into two parts, two equal parts. LPT stands for left plain text and RPT stands for right plain text. And then it goes to a complex key dependent computations. You can see here, there is a key here. Complex key dependent computations, and this is going to be 16 rounds, right? This key, this is what I was talking to you, right? This key is actually only 48 bits. So your original key is 64 bits, right? Then it is transformed to 56. Then it is further transformed to 48 bit 16 keys, right? 16 keys. And now we can get a clue here. There are 16 rounds. There are 16 sub keys of 48 bits each. So each round is going to have a unique sub key. So that means from one key 64 bits, you have generated 16 sub keys of 48 bits, and they're going to be unique in each of these 16 rounds. So after that, you will get this final permutation, which is the inverse of this IP initial permutation. Then you will get your ciphertext of 64 bits, right? So if you expand all these steps, right, the 16 rounds, you will expand it, then you will get the complete algorithm that you can find it from another. That is not the focus of my talk also. So modified versions of DES, because that was the DES1, right? What this diagram you have seen is for DES1, right? Though I have not written here, if I don't write DES1, so it's understood that it is DES1, right? If it is DES3, then exclusively we will write it as DES3. So the DES1 was standardized in 1977, right? Long back, almost 45 years before, right? More than 45 years before, it has been standardized. And because the computational technology and processor technology has evolved, right, into a tremendous computational power has come into play in these last 45 years. So it is suspected that DES1 may be broken. But we need to secure our transactions, the information that is flowing on the internet. So the committee, right, started working on how to strengthen this DES1. Because DES1 is tested, it is very fast, right, and it is computationally less intensive, and it produces the same amount of ciphertext equal to the amount of plain text. So these are all good features of DES, and it is secure at the same time. So how to strengthen this, keeping in mind the latest trends that are evolving and the computational power of the desktops, laptops, and servers, and so on and so forth. So they started working with this double DES. Double DES is DES2. That means performing the operations of DES1 twice with two different keys, right? What you see here, it is with the one key only, right? Only one key, you are performing all these operations. What the double DES is telling that is, instead of one 64-bit key, you use two 64-bit keys. So first key, you use it, then complete this entire operations, right? Then you will get one intermediate ciphertext. Treat this intermediate ciphertext as again plain text, take the second unique key that you have defined, and then process this again. So after the end of 32 rounds, first 16 rounds, you will get intermediate ciphertext. Then another 16 rounds, you will get the actual ciphertext. So total 32 rounds with two keys. So one key is 64 bits, two keys is 64. So 2 to the power of 64 into 2 to the power of 128. So many permutations you have to roughly do it with a brute force attack to decrypt that particular ciphertext in real time. So very complicated, right? So that is the purpose of this introducing double DES. Then we will see in the next slide that the researchers have found and demonstrated this double DES with certain conditions can be broken. That means you will be able to know the keys, the two keys with certain conditions. So that is called meet in the middle attack that we will see in the next slides, right? How this meet in the middle attack works if you know certain things. So double DES was not recommended to be implemented as an alternative to DES1. Then they came up with triple DES with 3 different keys. That means the same algorithm, the steps will be repeated thrice, right? First with one key, that is key 1, then repeat those entire process, right? As a previous step ciphertext as input now, then second key, that is K2, then repeat it with the third key, that is K3, that is 64 plus 64 plus 64, right? 64 into 3, 2 to the power of 64 into 3. That is the total number of permutations and combinations roughly, right? Approximately you need to do it by brute force attack to know what are these K1, K2, K3. So without knowing K1, K2, K3, it is impossible for you to decrypt it. It is impossible to decrypt it as a hacker. Then they found out that it is very difficult, right, to generate all the time 3 different unique keys. So is it possible to retain the power of triple DES with lesser number of keys? Then they came up with another idea called triple DES with 2 different keys, right? 2 different. That means keys are 3, but unique keys are only 2. You will see that how that arrangement is going to work, retaining the security aspect of it. So double DES encryption, you can see here how it looks like, right? Original plain text. This is your DES, right? Encryption is your DES here, and it is being done with the help of symmetric key K1. Symmetric key K1. So if I represent these things, suppose a plain text is represented as P, encrypt is represented as E, and it is encrypted with the help of K1. So let us call it as EK1. EK1. So if I look here, this block intermediate ciphertext, because we are on the sending side, so we are trying to encrypt it. Right, so it will be called a ciphertext. So this is intermediate steps. Intermediate ciphertext, I call it as IC. Intermediate ciphertext is equal to nothing but, right, encrypt with K1 on P. That is a plain text. So EK1 of P. EK1 of P. So IC is EK1 of P. And this EK1 of P or IC is again put through encryption DES K2, because this is double DES. So this is single DES. If I use K2, then it's going to be double DES, right? So whatever is intermediate ciphertext, that is treated now as a plain text and pass it on to DES another stage with a different key. That is, this time it is K2. So the final ciphertext C is nothing but EK2 of IC. EK2 of IC. So what is IC? IT is EK1 of P. So C is the final ciphertext is EK2 of EK1 of P. Right? This is the ciphertext. Remember this. Then if you look here, on the receiver side, decryption side, so ciphertext is received. What was the ciphertext? That is C is EK2 of EK1 of P. That's what we have seen here, right? In the previous slide, the same thing has been received. And then it is passed through decryption. Now we can see one more thing, right? On the encryption side, first we have used K1 and then K2. So you should remember that whether it is DES1 or DES2 or DES3, right? So key sequence will be reversed on the decryption side, on the receiver side. That means if you have used K1 first on the sender side and K2 next, on the receiver side, K2 will be used first and K1 will be used last step. So that's what we are doing it here. So ciphertext has come, right? And then decryption of DES. So first we will be using it K2, right? So you will be trying to get this intermediate plain text. Actually, our goal on the receiver side is to get back to the plain text, original plain text. So intermediate plain text IP, I call it as IP. So it is now decryption, not encryption. So decryption represented D and K2 is the key. So DK2 of C. C is the ciphertext. So if I replace C, what is C? C is EK2, EK1 of P. So I can write it as DK2 of EK2 of EK1 of P. And then this is passed through decryption with key K1, and then you get back to the plain text. Okay, so this is how double DES encryption and decryption works with the help of K1 and K2. So, but it has been demonstrated by this Merkel and Hellman, that this double DES with certain things, certain parameters are known, then it can be hacked. It can be hacked, and that they have named it that meet in the middle attack. So, what is this attack is? If I know a piece of plain text, you can look at this diagram. If I know a piece of plain text, right, as a hacker, and then corresponding piece of the ciphertext, right? You might have heard about known plain text attack, known ciphertext attack, and all those things. So it is possible, right? So if I know a piece of plain text and the corresponding piece of its ciphertext, but I don't know K1 and K2. I don't know K1 and K2. So hacking is successful only if I know K1 and K2, right? But what I know a piece of plain text, I know the corresponding piece of the ciphertext. If I know these things, is it possible to know K1 and K2? That is a challenge. So by knowing this, a piece of plain text and a corresponding piece of ciphertext, if K1 and K2 can be estimated or determined, then this algorithm is broken. So let us see that what this Merkle and Hellman has demonstrated is, so if I know the plain text, a piece of plain text, so what I do, I know the algorithm, what the encryption does, what the decryption does as a hacker also. So I take that plain text, what I do, encrypt with K1. I don't know what is K1, but I know the size of K1. So K1 is 64 bits. So I made a lookup table. I make a lookup table for all the possible combinations of K1. Let us say we are doing it by brute force attack only. Right, 2 to the power of 64 possible combinations of key I have listed, right? And then I try to perform encryption on the plain text that I have got it. And then I'll get this IC, right? Intermediate ciphertext. That is first possible combination of the key performed on the plain text and get a intermediate ciphertext 1, 2, 3, 4 like that 2 to the power. So it's a huge storage you have to have, because you have to store 2 to the power of 64 permutations, combinations of the key and corresponding intermediate ciphertext also you have to store, right? You have to store. So IC is EK1 of P. So we will not go further. But then what you will do is, I also know the piece of ciphertext corresponding to this plain text. Okay, so IC you should remember as per this formula EK1 of P. So now what I do, because I know a piece of ciphertext, right? But is ciphertext EK2, EK1 of P. Then I apply this decryption process with K2. K2 also I don't know, right? But I know that K2 is also 64 bits. So again, I make another lookup table, right? K2, all possible combinations of these 2 to the power of 64, right? So intermediate plain text, I will be getting it because I know this ciphertext. So I will be able to get this intermediate plain text. IP is DK2 of C, that is DK2, EK2, EK1 of P. Now, if you look at this IP, right, DK2, EK2, EK1 of P. So we all know encryption and decryption with the same key, right? They will be nullifying the effect. So that means EK2 is nullified with DK2, right? Because same key, same encryption with K2, decryption with K2. So in this you can see that's what I have written here, IP DK2 of C, DK2, EK2, EK1 of P. So EK2 is nullified with DK2. So you are left with EK1 of P. On the receiver side this is, right? On the decryption side basically. So what is this EK1 of P? EK1 of P is nothing but your intermediate ciphertext on the sender side and the encryption side. Okay. So wherever this IP, which is nothing but EK1 of P, is equivalent to this IC, right? Now IC is EK1 of P, even your IP is also EK1 of P, right? So wherever, for whichever key combination this EK1 of P is coming for IP and IC, that will be your K1 and K2. Because this IC is derived with the help of K1 and IP is derived with the help of K2, right? So wherever it is matching IP equal to IC, that particular key combination of K1 and K2 are the actual keys that have been used for encryption and decryption. That's why it is called meet in the middle attack. That means you start encrypting from one side with the plain text, you start decrypting other side with the help of the ciphertext, and then wherever this IP and IC are going to be equal, that will be your K1 and K2. And they have demonstrated that this is how, if you know a piece of plain text and a corresponding piece of ciphertext, you can determine what is K1 and K2. That is called meet in the middle attacks. Therefore, double DES was not implemented in practice, which was successfully demonstrated by this Merkle and Hellman. So that led to the triple DES, because we don't want to get rid of this DES because DES is tested, it is being used by the various applications. So we want to strengthen this DES further, because coming up with a new standard and then seeing its level of security and successfulness, so it's going to be very tough. So they wanted to enhance this DES itself with the help of another techniques. So double DES has failed with the help of meet in the middle attack. So they went with this triple DES with 3 keys. So it's very simple, right? The original plain text, which need to be encrypted, pass it through K1. Then you will get intermediate ciphertext 1, then pass it to another encryption, that is with the help of K2. This is a new key. Then you will get ciphertext 2, then again pass it to DES with the help of K3. then you will get the final ciphertext. So final ciphertext C is nothing but EK3 of EK2 of EK1 of P. That's how you can write it mathematically. So the problem with this 3 keys is a very successful technique. This doesn't have meet in the middle attack problem, that you can also try it out. So it is eliminated. It is free from meet in the middle attack, and it is as good as DES1, but at the same time it is more robust because instead of 1 key, now we are using 3 keys. That is 64 into 3. That is 2 to the power of 64 into 3 is approximately. You need to find out so that you can estimate what is this K1, K2, K3, which is very, very difficult and next to impossible to know all these 3 keys. Okay. So triple DES with 2 keys, because generating every time 3 unique keys, K1, K2, K3 for various applications is going to be a little tedious task. Then the researchers found out, is it possible that can we maintain the triple DES strength with the help of only 2 unique keys? So what they have done, original plain text, very nice idea, right? Encrypt with the help of K1. Then you'll get an intermediate ciphertext 1. So earlier you can see here it is encrypt, right, with K2. But here you can see decrypt with K2. So just there is no this thing, just to maintain manage with the 2 keys. Instead of performing, we are performing a decryption so that we can reuse this K1. So K1, then decrypt K2, then intermediate ciphertext, then again encrypt it with K1. So what we are doing, instead of K1, K2, K3, now we are happy with only 2 unique keys, K1, K2, and K1 is repeated here. And at the same time, we are not compromising with the security of this triple DES. Right, so the triple DES with 2 keys is also popular. Triple DES with 3 keys is also popular. DES1 with single key is also popular. But double DES is not used in practice because it suffers from meet in the middle attack. Now, right, so symmetric cryptography, this is a summary, right? Sender A, receiver B, same slide which I have shown you earlier, right? So encrypt with the symmetric key K and decrypt with the symmetric key KK, and then get back to the plain text. The problem what we have understood is we are trying to secure the data, but how to secure this key, which is used at the sender side and receiver side for encryption and decryption, is a challenge. So what are the 2 challenges, important challenges in symmetric cryptography is, one is the key exchange problem, right? How to exchange the symmetric key, that is decided by the sender with the receiver, so the receiver can decrypt it. That is one of the challenge. That's called a key exchange problem, or key exchange is the challenge, one of the challenge. And other important aspect is number of keys required for n communicating parties. With the help of symmetric cryptography is too large, is governed by n into n minus 1 divided by 2. So it is a very huge number, right? Huge number. We'll do some calculations also just to appreciate the problem, just to appreciate the challenge, appreciate the problem. But the good of symmetric key you should remember is they are very fast. Whether it is DES1, whether it is DES2, whether it is DES3 with 3 keys or 2 keys, AES, Blowfish, RC5, right? All symmetric algorithms in general, they are very fast because they don't use complex computational operations, mathematical operations. So they are very fast. Other thing is they provide, they give same amount of ciphertext as equal to the same amount of plain text. That means if I give a 64-bit plain text, my ciphertext is also 64 bits. So it doesn't produce more than what you have given as an input. So that is also one of the important characteristic, because if the ciphertext is large in size compared to the input that you have given, then more bandwidth is required, more processing is required, and more money you have to shell out to transmit that particular ciphertext. So the important problems are key exchange is one of the problem, and number of keys required for n communicating parties to have a safe communication with the help of symmetric key is too large, that is n into n minus 1 by 2. We try to solve this first one, this n into n minus 1 by 2, to appreciate this. So keep your paper and pen ready. A very simple problem that I am going to give it, and we will be solving it in 5 minutes. Okay. Let us say there are 300 crore internet users. That means your n is 300 crores. So 1 crore is how many zeros followed by 1? Yeah. 1 crore is having how many zeros followed by 1? Anybody?
Seven.
Oh, great. Roy, very good. So, 1 crore is 1 followed by 7 zeros.
आगे क्लास चल रहा था
अरे बच्चों को भी लाया क्या क्लास में? लगता है आपको? बच्चों को भी लाया लगता है भाई. अब म्यूट तो कर ले यार क्लास. संग्राम. कोई बच्चे भी आ गए लगता है क्लास में.
तो बताना से एक क्लास चल रहा था हम ध्यान नहीं देंगे अभी दो
Yes, Vikas Patel, please.
I am muted, sir.
Okay, thank you यार. मैंने सोचा कोई बच्चे भी आ गए क्लास में. ज्यादा इंटरेस्टिंग लगा क्लास है?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll just tell them a small joke, na, which happened. The joke nahi, is actual real incident. It happened, right, in one of the courses like this only. So, not in my course, but one of our colleague, a senior professor from applied sciences, he was conducting online FDP. He is very serious person regarding the attendance and all those things. The online very difficult is how to ensure that whether you are listening or not. So, the professor told the participant, because there were only 20 or 22 participants were there in the entire course, I'll take the attendance randomly. Okay. So, first day is fine, second day is fine, third day also he came randomly, right? When an expert was taking a class, he came in between. He told experts, sir, I'll just take the attendance randomly, right? Just to check whether the participants are there or not there. So, he called out one lady name. By chance, right? And the mic was unmuted, right? That particular participant. And when the professor asked XYZ name, right? XYZ name, then immediately some children started speaking, Mummy, uncle is calling you. Mummy, uncle is calling you. So that means Mummy was very busy with some other works in the house, right? The course participation is going on. So I thought that today Vikas also has done something like that. Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah. That is just for laughing. It happens, right? We can't help because you have to manage your home. That was a pandemic time, right? Peak time. So no servants were coming. So mummy has to manage, right? Mummy has to manage the home, office, children, so many activities, right? So many activities. So it is true with the papa also these days. Everybody is busy. So whenever you want to talk to your children or wife or husband, so please mute your mic, Mute your mic. One day I got scoldings also. Right, Sangram, I was taking a talk, an accreditation, NBA accreditation. There were around 500 participants on that day.
Okay.
So it was not our course, it was somebody else. So all of a sudden, one lady's mic got unmuted. Okay. And then she started actually saying something. And unfortunately, she was speaking in Telugu. Because I am also from Andhra, right? I also know Telugu.
Yes.
But she doesn't know that I am also from Andhra. So she started saying something. Then I asked her, Madam, are you talking to me? Then she realized, no, sir, I am not talking to you. Madam, with whom you are talking? So I am talking to my husband. Madam, are you talking or you are scolding him? No, sir, I was talking. Then I told her, sir, Madam, I am also from Andhra. I told her I am also from Andhra.
That's
right.
why I understand that what you told.
Yes. Immediately the mic was muted. Immediately the mic was muted. So it happens, right? It happens. You have to manage many things. But yes. Okay. Good. So let us come back, right? Because lunchtime, I know that you all will be getting sleep. So thanks to that madam who told 1 crore is 1 followed by 7 zeros. So 300 crore internet users who wants to have a secure communication using this symmetric key cryptography. We are trying to just picturize how big is this problem actually, right? That's the only thing, nothing else. Determine the total number of keys required. The formula I have given you, n into, is this visible screen? Sangram?
Yes, sir, it is visible. It's
Okay,
visible.
very good. So determine the total number of keys required with that help of n into n minus 1 by 2. So n is 300 crores, that is 300 into 10 to the power of 7. 300 10 to the power of 7. So n into n minus 1 divided by 2. So can you tell me the total number of keys quickly? Yeah. You can put it in the chat window also. Yeah, I'll give you time of only 2 minutes. 2 minutes. It doesn't take much time. You can approximate it also Because n into n minus 1, 300 crore minus 1 doesn't make any sense.
5 into 10 raised to power 17.
Okay, how much it is?
45 multiplied by 10 raised to power 17.
Oh, great, great. Okay, very good, very good. 45 into 10 to the power of 17, or it can also be 4.5 into 10 to the power of 18. Oh, both are one and the same only. Very good. Thank you. Now, next question is, I think it's very easy. There is no need to explain to you because 300 into 10 to the power of 7 and n minus 1 minus 1, you can neglect it. Again, 300 in 10 to the power of 7 divided by 2. So, it is 300 in 10 to the power of 7 into 300 in 10 to the power of 7 divided by 2. So 10 to the power of 7, 10 to the power of 7 is 10 to the power of 14. In both 300, there are 2 zeros. So 2 zeros also if you convert into 10 square. So that is 10 to the power of 4. So 10 to the power of 4 and 10 to the power of 14. So it becomes 10 to the power of 18. And 3 into 3 is 9. So 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. So 4.5 into 10 to the power of 18. As one of the gentlemen told, 45 into 10 to the power of 17. So both are correct. Right. Okay, that's good. So now next question is determine the storage space required to store the required number of keys. Because we need to store these keys also, right? Whatever keys that you are generating it, we need to store them also as a third party. So that because sometimes the users will forget the keys, sometimes the keys are compromised, somebody will forget the key. So there are many issues, right? Many issues. So you need to store these keys also somewhere. And by third party, we will manage all the storage space of the keys. So let us determine what is the amount of storage space that is required. If each of the key is 64, we are assuming that we are using DES1. DES1 uses only one key, that is, let us say 64 bits in size. 64 bits in size. Okay. So you got 45 into 10 to the power of 17 or 4.5 into 10 to the power of 18. That is the total number of keys required. Right. So each key is of 64 bits in size. So multiply 4.5 into 10 to the power of 18 multiplied by 64 bits. Okay, so you will get the total number of bits to be stored. Okay, convert that into 1 terabyte, number of 1 terabyte hard disk that is required. Okay, so your 4.5 into 10 to the power of 18 into 64 bits, you will get the total number of bits. Okay, we want the answer in terabytes actually, right? Terabytes. So convert that into bytes. Whatever you get in terms of bits, convert that into bytes. How do you convert bits into bytes? Divide that number, whatever you get, by 8. So then you will get total number of bytes. So we also know what is 1 tera, right? 1 tera, we can approximate it also. Whether you can take it as 1024 into 1024 into 1024 into 1024, or you can take it as 1000 into 1000 into 1000, right? 10 to the power of 12 also you can take it to simplify the answer. So both are okay. So your answer should be 4.5 into 10 to the power of 18 into 64 divided by 8. That will give you number of bytes. But we want to convert that into terabytes. So tera we can approximate it as 10 to the power of 12. So you can straight away divide that number by 10 to the power of 12. Then you will get the total number of 1 terabyte hard disk required to store the keys for these 300 crore internet users. Okay, can anybody tell me that answer? I have already told you the equation. Only you have to do calculations and tell me the number. 4.5 into 10 to the power of 18 into 64 divided by 8. And this number has to be divided by 10 to the power of 12, approximately. So that should give you the total number of 1 terabyte hard disk required to store these keys.
Should be 36 multiplied by 10 raised to power 6.
10 to the power of 6, very good. What is your good name, gentleman?
This is Dhananjay Kumar, sir. Actually, our team, we are team of Sangram, sir.
Oh, okay. Dhananjay was that same fellow, huh? Whom I took interview, huh?
Yes, sir. He is working in my another project, DST project.
Okay, good, great. So 36 into 10 to the power of 6. If I put it into crores, how many crores? 1 crore is 10 to the power of 7, na? So divide by 10, multiply by 10.
3.6.
So you require 3.6 crores of 1 terabyte hard disk. It's a huge storage space, right? Huge storage space. What is the cost of 1 terabyte hard disk in Sikkim? What is the cost of 1 terabyte hard disk in Sikkim?
Almost 45,000. Oh, sorry.
4,500.
Oh, yes, 4,500.
Let us take it. Okay, no problem. Because we are worried about Sikkim, right? Because Sikkim is located in a very, NIT is located in a very critical place. So let us say that approximately, to simplify our calculations, 1 terabyte hard disk will cost us 5,000 rupees. Just approximate it, right? Okay. So we need 3.6 into 10 to the power of 7. 1 terabyte hard disks are required. 3.6 crores, right? That's what you told me. 3.6 into 10 to the power of 7 multiplied by 5,000 rupees. How many rupees you require? 3.6 crores multiplied by 5,000 rupees. How many crores are required? $3.6 crores into 5,000. How many crores? Dhananjay ji? Oh, is my voice is coming? Hey, Sangram. Okay, good. So Abhishek Dahal is written 18,000 crore. Okay. Voice is coming. Okay. So thank you, madam. It is 18,000 crore rupees are required only for storing these keys, for serving these 300 crore internet users securely and safely. This is an approximate, just to give an idea what is the size of the problem at hand. So apart from these, whenever you have seen any data center, I believe that you might have seen a data center anywhere, either NIC or any other private companies. So data centers are going to be huge in size, right? So only this storage is not going to help you, right? Along with the storage, you need to have servers, you need to have internet bandwidth, you need to have manpower, you need to have power, right? Electricity. So many things are required. AC requirement. So all these also have to be 24/7, 365. You have to operate them, right? It's going to be a very critical task, right? So it's a huge expenditure, right? So if I use symmetric cryptography for a large number of internet users, this n into n minus 1 by 2 is a large number. So researchers are thinking, is it possible to reduce this number of keys required? Right? Number of keys required. So if you reduce it, the storage requirements will reduce. Once the storage requirement reduces, then your servers, your internet bandwidth, your manpower, everything also may come down, and it will become easy to manage, right? That's one of the issue. Other issue is key exchange problem, right? How to exchange the symmetric key safely. So that led to the invention of this Diffie-Hellman key exchange protocol, right? Diffie-Hellman key exchange protocol. And this solves the problem of key exchange in symmetric key cryptography for the symmetric key sharing purpose. So we'll take two people, right? If you in the books, you will find them as Alice and Bob, because it is invented by foreigners, right? Diffie and Hellman. Naturally, they have used Alice and Bob. So I have changed it into Ram and Sham, because that we can understand it quickly, right? Ram and Sham can decide upon a key without meeting. No secrets are exchanged, and yet a secret key can be agreed upon. And this Diffie-Hellman key exchange also, right, has been developed before many of us are not born. And another interesting fact is, Diffie is one person, Hellman is another person. So one is a student, other one is a professor. Right? A student and a professor has devised this key exchange protocol, right, long back before 1975, and it is accepted as one of the solution. So a student and a teacher has developed this algorithm. So we all are teachers. So we should also, right, have such type of students, and your students also should respect you, so that we can also do something like this Diffie and Hellman, which is going to be useful for the whole world, right? Okay. So let us see. This is a very simple algorithm. So when you read this algorithm, many of us will think that why I was not born, right, before this Diffie and Hellman, so that I also could have developed this algorithm, and my name could have come here, but unfortunately we are not born. Okay. So there are 7 steps in this key exchange algorithm or key exchange protocol. We'll see these steps are very simple. Then we'll also solve 1 or 2 examples. Then we will understand it quickly. First step is Ram and Sham. Right? Ram is the sender, Sham is the receiver. Agree on 2 large prime numbers. We all know what is a prime number. Prime number is a number which is divisible by itself and 1 only. They are the prime numbers. Like we have prime number 3, prime number 5, prime number 7, right? Prime number 11, 13, 17, 19, and so on, right? These are all prime numbers because these are the numbers which are divisible by itself and one only. But here we are talking about large prime numbers, not small prime numbers like what I have said just now, but large prime numbers, as large as possible, right? 10-digit prime numbers, 100-digit prime number, 50-digit prime numbers, not 1 digit and 2 digit, N and G. So let us call these two large prime numbers chosen by Ram as N and G. So N is one prime number, large prime number, G is another large prime number. These two numbers need not be kept secret. Ram and Sham can use an insecure channel to agree on them. That means Ram has generated this N and G, two large prime numbers, and he has shared with the Sham, the receiver, on an insecure channel. That means these N and G, they are traveling in a plain text between Ram and Sham. So any hacker between Ram and Sham, they can also know what is N, what is G by simple sniffing technique, right? So therefore, N and G are actually public. That means Sam also will be knowing them, and anybody who comes in between Ram and Sham also can know this N and G because they are traveling in the plain text and they are traveling on an insecure channel. Okay. So second step is the sender Ram chooses another large random integer number X. Right? How to generate this random integer number? Right? In any of these compilers, C, C++, Java, right? You have these rand functions. Right? With the help of rand functions, you can generate random integer numbers. You can also generate floating point random numbers. So you can all try it if you have not tried earlier. Even if your MATLAB is also having inbuilt random functions, your any compiler you take it, right? They have maybe with different names, but you can try it out with rand function. You should be able to get it, and you can generate a large random integer number X and calculates A. That means Ram calculates A such that A is G to the power of X mod N. So Ram has generated N, that is one large prime number. Ram has generated G, that is another large prime number. N and G are public also, and they are known to Ram because he himself has generated it. And X is chosen by Ram, that is this large random integer number X. So A can be calculated. So G is known, N is known, X is known. So Ram can calculate A. Then what this Ram does after this? Ram sends the number A to Sham. So whatever is the value of this A, that is sent to the receiver Sham. Again, an insecure channel, because I told us channel is not secured, right? And then there is no encryption for this A, R, N and G. So that means A is also public. A is also public. N and G is public. A is also, capital A is also public. Now what the receiver does, Sham independently chooses another large random integer Y and calculates B such that B is G to the power of Y mod N. So Sham can calculate B because N is given by Ram, G is given by Ram, and Y is chosen by Sham himself, right? So G is known, N is known, Y is chosen, so B can be calculated. Now what Sam does, Sam sends the number B to Ram. Again, it is an insecure channel. So your prime is public are, N is public, G is public, capital A is public, capital B is also public. That means anybody can capture it. Now last 6 and 7 steps, right? Ram now computes the secret key K1 as follows. K1 is B to the power of X mod N. N was generated by Ram only. X was chosen by Ram, that is at step number 2. And B actually has been received from Sam, right? So B is known, X is known, N is known. So K1 is calculated by Ram. Similarly, Sam now computes the secret key K2 as follows. K2 is A to the power of Y mod N. N was received from Ram, right? A also was received from Ram only, right? And Y is actually chosen by Sam at step number 4. So you can see here when you look at it, what is public here? N is public, G is public, capital A is public, capital B is public. What is secret here in this algorithm? What is secret in this algorithm? Anybody? Which numbers are secret here?
X
N is
and Y.
not secret. Yeah. Yes.
Sir, X and Y are secret.
Yes, because you can see, look at this algorithm. X is not shared with anybody. Y is also not shared with anybody. and they have been chosen by themselves, right? Ram has chosen X and Sham has chosen Y, and they are not shared. So X is private to Ram, Y is private to Sham, but N, G, capital A, capital B are public. That means hacker also can capture this N, G, capital A and capital B. Okay. Suppose a hacker knows N, G, capital A, capital B. Can hacker know K1 and K2? Hacker knows small n, small g, capital A, capital B. Can he know K1 and K2?
No.
Why?
This X.
Yes, very good. So he doesn't know what is X, what is Y, right? They are secret
Yes.
actually, right? They are secret. So if you try to arrange this K1 and K2, right, to know what is X and Y, right, then it leads to a discrete logarithmic problem. Right, discrete logarithmic problem, and we all know discrete logarithmic problem till today doesn't have a perfect solution, right? So therefore, Diffie-Hellman has claimed that this algorithm is safe for symmetric key exchange. But hackers have demonstrated, the researchers have demonstrated that without going into discrete logarithms, this problem can be solved, this algorithm can be hacked, this can be hijacked with the help of attack called man-in-the-middle attack. That we will see in the next slide, man-in-the-middle attack, how it happens without going into the solving of discrete logarithms. Okay, so let us solve before that in 5 minutes, one small example, then we will proceed. Yeah, can you take these values quickly? Yeah, take it N as 11, G as 7, X is 3, Y is 6. And tell me quickly what is capital A, what is capital B, what is K1, what is K2. Quickly, huh? It is now 2:28. In 5 minutes, 2:33. By 2:33, you have to tell. Yeah, up to 2:33, Abhishek Dahal has given K1 is 9. Okay, very good. Okay. Let us hear from others also. Oh, Abhishek Dahal is telling K2 is also 9. Very good. Yeah, what is expected of the out of this algorithm actually? K1 and K2 supposed to be equal, or K1 should be greater than K2, or K1 should be less than K2?
Since it is symmetric key cryptography, it was supposed to be similar.
Okay. Oh, very good. But actually, as per the formula, are they supposed to be same? If you look at this, yeah, I need to show you algorithm also for you. Sorry, right? I put it off. So those who are new, you can use these steps that I am showing it here. So N is 11. Hello. Yes. Madam, can you call me around 3:30? I am in a class. Yeah, so N is 11, G is 7, right? X I have given you 3, Y I have given you 6. So A is what? G to the power of X mod N. So G is 7, right? 7 to the power of 3. X is 3. 7 to the power of 3 mod 11. So that will be your A. What is B? G to the power of Y mod N. G is 7. Y is 6. 7 to the power of 6 mod 11. That will be your B. So once you get these A and B values, then K1 is whatever value you get for B. X is 3. So B to the power of 3 mod 11. K2 is whatever is the value of A. Y is 6. A to the power of 6 mod 11. So by that you will come to know. And another thing is, as you said rightly, right? K1, what is B? If I substitute the value of B, B is what? Actually G to the power of Y mod N. So if I apply this modulus calculus, so B is G to the power of Y mod N. So G to the power of Y mod N whole to the power of X mod N. So if I apply the modulus calculus, then you will find that K1 is actually G to the power of Yx mod N. G to the power of Yx mod N. And if you substitute the value of A from step number 2, that is G to the power of X mod N. So K2 is G to the power of X mod N whole to the power of Y mod N. So if you apply the modulus calculus, this becomes K2 becomes G to the power of XY mod N. So K1 is G to the power of Yx mod N, K2 is G to the power of Yxy mod N. So g to the power of xy or g to the power of yx, they are one and the same. They are one and the same. Okay. So definitely that as Dhananjay has told, K1 and K2 has to be same. They have to be equal. If you are not getting equal, that means you have done something wrong. You have done something wrong. Something wrong. You can put your answers in the chat window, right? Yeah, any answers? Very good, Abhishek. A2, B4, K1, 9, K2, 9. Good, excellent. Very good. Anybody else? Yeah, Abhishek has given. Only Abhishek has given. Nobody else has given. 18,000 crore, many people have given. That's good. Yeah, Sancha Bir Gurung. Sancha Priyesh. You can also come out. Yeah, anyway, I think you can do it. I have already told you. Let us come back to the talk. Yeah, you can do it. So that's how the beautiful solution has been given by Diffie and Hellman for the key exchange problem in the symmetric key cryptography. Okay, so if you have got this answer, A2, B4 and K1, K2 equal to 9. So your job is done and the algorithm is excellent, right? Diffie and Hellman. And we all regret that why I was not born before Diffie and Hellman to develop this algorithm, because algorithm is very simple, no complex mathematics involved, but yet it has solved one of the biggest problem, that is the symmetric key exchange problem. Yeah. So those who are good in programming, right, you can also try this programming exercise. Write a program to determine K1 and K2 when N and G are 10-digit prime numbers, or you can take any larger than this also. And X and Y are also 10-digit random integer numbers. So you can, I have given only 10, but you can try with the larger prime numbers also, larger random integer numbers also, and then try to determine what is K1 and K2 with whichever programming language that you are comfortable. Okay. So, but the researchers have shown, right, it suffers from meet in the middle attack. This Diffie-Hellman suffers from meet in the middle attack. Okay. So what is this meet in the middle attack? Let us explain it with the help of this slide. So you have 3 people here, right? Usually in a communication, we have only 2 people, and sender and one receiver, if it is one-to-one communication. But here there is another party also without knowing, right? For the sender and receiver, the other party also is joined. You can see here, Imprit is the sender, I, and Savneet, yes, is the receiver. They are 2 of my students because I teach this subject also in the class. And as the algorithm says, Imprit I, sender, will choose N and G. Let us take the same values that we have taken. N is 11, G is 7. 2 large prime numbers supposed to be, but we have taken for understanding purpose small prime numbers. So once you choose this N11, G7, that is supposed to be shared with the receiver, that is Savneet here, on an insecure channel. So on an insecure channel, so anybody can hack it, right? So we'll see here Nikita N, who is a hacker or intruder, right? When these N and G are values are being transmitted to receiver, and they have been captured by Nikita as well, who is a hacker in this communication. So it has been received at the receiver also, and hacker also has hacked these values or snipped these values N11 and G7. After that, the algorithm says that sender is supposed to choose a random integer number X, large random integer number. So X, we have chosen it as small value for calculation purpose once again, and then calculates the value of I. That is the algorithm, it is actually capital A, but here I am using, because Imprit is I, so I am writing it as I. So I and A are same. In the algorithm A, it is here in this example, it is I. So what is A? G to the power of X mod n. So what is I? G to the power. So G is 7, X is 8. So 7 to the power of 8 mod 11. So it is going to be 9. Okay. And then, right, what happens? We'll come back to the Savneet side as per the algorithm. So what the Savneet does? So this I value, right? I value is supposed to be actually sent to the Savneet side. So here exactly the trick is played by the hacker. So I to be sent to S, right? So when this I value is being sent to S, right? What this hacker is doing, we will see what is this X dash, Y dash, and I dash, S dash little later. But I is supposed to be sent to the Savneet, right? So what the hacker has done, it has captured the value of I of Imprit 9, right, and kept it with itself. The hacker has kept it with itself, and we will see what it will do later on. Now let us come back to the Savneet side. Savneet has received this N11 and G7, and Savneet has chosen Y also, that is a random integer number X, Y. Then it has calculated S. S is what? G to the power of Y mod n. So what is G? 7, Y is 6, 7 to the power of 6 mod 11, and S value is 4. So once you get this S value is nothing but B value in the algorithm. So S and B are same. So don't worry. So S to be sent to I, that is Imprit side. So S has to be sent to this thing. S is 4. So what this Nikita is doing? Nikita has captured this S value also. Okay, that means I value is captured by Nikita, S value is also captured by Nikita, but this value, I value is supposed to be reaching to Savneet, and S value is supposed to reach to Imprit side. Now let us see what this hacker does actually. Hacker captured this N11, G7, I also 9, S also 9, he has captured it. Okay, then he has chosen, Nikita has chosen X dash and Y dash. You can see here, Imprit has chosen only X, Savneet has chosen only Y. But Nikita has chosen X dash also, Y dash also, a random integer number. So that you can always do it. X dash is 5, let us say Y dash is 3. So what it is doing, it is calculating I dash, it is calculating S dash. So I dash is nothing but G to the power of X dash mod n. S dash is nothing but G to the power of Y dash mod n. So I dash is 10, S dash is 2. Now, when I value was supposed to be sent to the Savneet, it has been captured by the Nikita, right? This I equal to 9. I equal to 9 has been captured. So what this Nikita is doing, it has got I dash value, right? That is 10. So this I dash value has been shared with Savneet. Actual value is I equal to 9 has been shared, but I equal to 9 has been captured by Nikita, and Nikita has sent the I dash value calculated by itself to Savneet. When the S value was supposed to be shared with Imprit, that is X equal to 4, again captured by Nikita, and Nikita, what it has done, S dash is 2, its own value has been shared with the Imprit. Okay. Now, after getting this S dash value, after getting this I dash value, the algorithm says that calculate K1 and K2 by Imprit and Savneet. So Imprit is calculating K1. K1 is what? This S dash to the power of X. X is 8. So S dash is 2, X is 8, mod 11, so it is 3. So Savneet is K2, that is I dash value, that is 10 to the power of Y, that is 6 mod n. So 1. K1 and K2. Just now, Dhananjaya told us that after calculations, and I have also told by replacing those formulas capital A and capital B in K1 and K2, K1 is actually G to the power of Yx mod n, K2 is G to the power of Xy mod n, so both are supposed to be equal. But when you look at this algorithm, right, when you look at this example now, the value calculated by Empreet, the value calculated by Savneet, they are not same. K1 is 3, K2 is 1. But actually, as per the Diffie-Hellman algorithm, when there is no hacker in between, it is supposed to be equal. K1 and K2 are supposed to be equal. Now we will see what this hacker does. Right? Hacker has captured this I and S. Now what it is trying to do? It is trying to calculate K1 dash and K2 dash. What is K1 dash? K1 dash is nothing but the captured value of S. That is 4. 4 to the power of X dash. That is 5 generated by itself. 4 to the power of 5 mod 11. 11 has been already captured. K2 dash is the captured value of I. That is 9 to the power of 3. That is Y dash. That is chosen by itself. 9 to the power of 3 mod 11. That is 3. So now Nikita is having K1 dash as 1. K2 dash as 3. Okay. So this Diffie-Hellman key exchange is only for symmetric key determination. Right? Diffie-Hellman doesn't do any encryption, doesn't do any decryption also. It is only for generating the symmetric key, which is going to be used in any symmetric algorithm like DES1 or DES3 or any other AES or whatever it is. Okay, it determines only the symmetric key, no encryption, no decryption. That you should remember it. So it is called Diffie-Hellman key exchange protocol. In some books, it is called Diffie-Hellman key determination protocol. Right? No encryption, no decryption. You should remember this. Now we'll see that what the Nikita will do. Right? Let us say now the keys are decided. Empreet and Savneet, by following Diffie-Hellman, they know that K1 and K2 are same. So they got the symmetric key. Now they started the actual communication with the help of symmetric key cryptography technique, like let us say DES1. So Empreet, let us say it has got some text, plain text to be transmitted securely to Savneet. Okay. So what it is doing, it is using DES1. It is using this K1 equal to 3. K1 equal to 3. So DES1, plain text, and K1 is 3. Right, you got a ciphertext. Okay, so this ciphertext is traveling on a channel. So this ciphertext can be captured by Nikita also, because Nikita is there in between Empreet and Savneet communication. So Nikita has captured this ciphertext, which is encrypted with K1 equal to 3. But now when you look at Nikita, Nikita is having two keys. K1 dash is 1 and K2 dash is 3. And we all know whatever is encrypted with K1 equal to 3 in symmetric key, it can be decrypted with the same key, that is 3. So what Nikita will do, Nikita will try with this K1 dash 1. So it cannot be decrypted, right? Because it is encrypted with 3. And Nikita will try with the other key, right? That is K2 dash, that is 3. So it is encrypted with 3. It can be decrypted with 3 only. And Nikita is successful in decrypting the ciphertext of Empreet before it has gone to Savneet. Now, because it is decrypted by Nikita, a hacker in between, now Nikita can do anything with this plain text. Right? It can modify it, it can do something else, right? Some other message it can write it. And then what it will do, so that Savneet should not know that Nikita has played with this text that is coming from the Empreet. So what it will do, it will modify this plain text that it has got after decryption and then encrypt it with the other key, that is K1 dash equal to 1. So it sends the ciphertext to Savneet. So what is Savneet? Savneet is having K2 as 1. So the ciphertext that it has received is encrypted with 1. So it can be decrypted with 1. So Savneet will decrypt it successfully and then it reads that message, but it doesn't know that this message has been modified by Nikita, hacker in between. So Savneet starts replying to the message that it has received successfully after the hacker has played this trick, and Savneet is now sending another plain text which is encrypted with K2 equal to 1. So ciphertext is again hacked by the Nikita. So what is encrypted with K2 equal to 1 can be decrypted with K1 dash equal to 1. So again Nikita has got the message from Savneet, plain text, play with it, and then encrypt it with K2 dash equal to 3 and then send it to Empreet. Now it is encrypted with 3. So when Empreet is having the K1 equal to 3, it will decrypt it and it will treat that as the plain text actually coming from Savneet, but actually it is not coming from Savneet. Savneet has sent it, but it has been captured by Nikita, right? Decrypted it and then modified the text and then encrypted with the key that is with the sender. So this is how the communication between Amrit and Savneet have been hacked by Nikita by a simple technique. No discrete logarithms are involved, right? We have taken the same Diffie-Hellman algorithm. Same steps are followed by Amrit, Nikita and Savneet, and then Nikita has successfully hacked into the communication between Amrit and Savneet, which they could not even know that the hacker has played this trick. So that's why it's called man in the middle attack, right? The hacker is in between the sender and the receiver. Therefore, the name MITM or man in the middle attack. Okay, so you can solve this problem at home because we are running out of time. So I think we are having another 5 minutes. Okay. So demonstrate that Diffie-Hellman key exchange protocol suffers from man in the middle attack, MITM. So you can take these values. N is 11, G is 7, X is 3 selected by the sender, Y is 9 selected by the receiver, and capital X equal to 8, capital Y is equal to 6 selected by the intruder. X dash and Y dash I have used in the algorithm, right? But you can use it as X dash is capital X here, Y dash is capital Y here, and you can follow the same steps and you can try to find out what is K1, what is K2, what is K1 dash, what is K2 dash, right? Then you will be able to appreciate that man in the middle attack is a very serious issue in the Diffie-Hellman. Why this has happened? Because there is no authentication done between Amrit and Savneet before they started this algorithm. So one of the solution they have suggested is authenticate both the parties first. Amrit and Savneet, whoever wants to communicate, whoever wants to generate this symmetric key, first authenticate them, then you follow this Diffie-Hellman algorithm. And we have got a modified version of this Diffie-Hellman, and one of the solution already given as Oakley key determination protocol. Oakley key determination, that you can read it from the text anywhere. But what we should appreciate is Diffie-Hellman before 1975 has given a wonderful solution for a key exchange problem in the symmetric key, right? Unfortunately, it suffers from man in the middle attack, and this has been prevented by authenticating both the parties before we actually start this Diffie-Hellman. But it is a breakthrough algorithm. Diffie-Hellman key exchange protocol is a breakthrough algorithm. It made a foundation for a new cryptography technique called asymmetric key cryptography. Yeah. So these are the answers you should get for this problem. Problem number 3, you have written down. Otherwise, I'll pass on these slides to you. Right? Yeah. These are the values you should get is, you can see here, K1 is 9, which is equal to K2 dash. K2 is 5, which is equal to K1 dash. This K1 dash and K2 dash are hacker keys. And K1 is a sender key, K2 is a receiver key. So therefore, MITM is successful by the hacker. Okay, so this is the last 1 or 2 slides. After that, we will stop it here, right? And asymmetric key encryption uses key pairs, 2 keys for each user, right? That means Ramakrishna is one user. I am the Ramakrishna, right? I have 2 keys. Sangram is another user. He will be having 2 keys. Dhananjay is another user, he will be having 2 keys. So that means every user who wants to have a secure communication with the help of symmetric cryptography, they will have 2 keys or 1 key pair. And it's very important to know in this asymmetric key, who should know which keys, right? That we will see in the matrix. So how the encryption and decryption takes place in this asymmetric key is, the sender encrypts with the recipient's public key. The sender encrypts. Suppose if I want to communicate with Dr. Sangram, so first thing is I should know the Sangram's public key. That means I have 2 keys, right? So one key is called public key, other key is called private key. So that means I have 2 keys, one is public, one is private. Similarly, Dr. Sangram, one key, he will make it as public, other key is private. So as the name itself indicates, public key is supposed to be displayed to the public and private key is supposed to be the secret. So if I want to communicate with Dr. Sangram, I want to send something, first I should know Sangram's public key. Who will tell this public key? Sangram himself will publicize this key. Whoever wants to talk to me, use this public key, encrypt the text and send it to me. So the basic principle asymmetric is, what is encrypted with the public key can only be decrypted with the corresponding private key. So private key is with whom? It is with me, right? So whoever wants to talk to me, they should use my public key, encrypt their data and send it to me, and I will decrypt with my private key. So sender encrypts with recipient's public key and recipient decrypts with its own private key, and which is secret to the party. It is secret to the party. So who should know? Quickly write A's private key, only A should know. He should not disclose it to anybody else, right? and nobody else. B also nobody else should know. A is public key. Yes, definitely A knows it, and B and whoever wants to communicate with A should know their public key of A. B is private key. Only B should know, nobody else. B is public key. B should know definitely, and A and anybody else who wants to communicate with B also should know. So public key should be known to public, whoever wants to communicate with that particular node, and private key is supposed to be secret with each of these nodes. How it is going to happen? Simple diagram. Sender A, plain text. Encrypt with B's public key. Who is B here? B is the receiver. So who is going to talk? Sender wants to send something. So sender first should know the receiver's public key, right? Then after that you encrypt it with the help of any algorithm, right? You can use your RSA here, right? That is very popular algorithm. RSA and B's public key, produce the ciphertext and then transmit it. And what the receiver will do? Receiver will apply the corresponding decryption of RSA and then B's private key, and this B's private key is only secret to B, and then get back to the plain text. Yeah, this is the last slide, right? Last slide. We will not go into working of RSA and other things because of lack of time, right? So this one problem will solve it and we'll wind up. We'll take 1 or 2 questions if I have, otherwise we'll wind up. There are 300 crore internet users who wants to have secure communication using asymmetric cryptography. Determine the total number of keys required. As I told you that, if suppose I am one user, I have 2 keys. Dr. Sangram is another user, 2 keys. Dhananjay another 2 keys. So every user will be having 2 keys. So if there are n number of users, how many keys are required? Every user will be having 2 keys, right? If there are n number of users, how many keys are required in this asymmetric cryptography? Anybody? Quickly. Very good. Kundan Saha says 2n. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So now for 300 crore internet users, right? How many keys are required? 2n, right? 2 into 300 crores. So you require 600 crores of keys required. Whereas in the symmetric key, how many was required? 4.5 into 10 to the power of 18 or 45 into 10 to the power of 17. A huge number, because the formula was n into n minus 1 by 2, but here the total number of keys is actually 2n. Right? So if you simplify that n into n minus 1 divided by 2 is approximately at the order of n square by 2, right? Which is a huge number. But if you can see here, this asymmetric cryptography, the number of keys required is from 4.5 in 10 to the power of 18 has been reduced to 600 crores, right? Much smaller than the number of keys required in asymmetric key compared to the symmetric key. So that's how the number of keys, large number of keys required, has been reduced drastically by this asymmetric cryptography technique compared to symmetric key cryptography. Now storage space also you will calculate quickly, right? Same thing, right? 2n keys, 600 crores, 600 in 10 to the power of 7. Each key is of 64 bits. So 600 crores, right? 600 into 10 to the power of 7 into 64 divided by 8 and divide the answer by 10 to the power of 12. Then you will get the answer in number of 1 terabyte hard disk. Yeah, tell me quickly. 2n is 2 into 300 crores, right? 2 into 300 into 10 to the power of 7. Crore I have converted into 10 to the power of 7. So 2 into 300 in 10 to the power of 7 into 64 divided by 8 divided by 10 to the power of 12. That will give you a number of 1 terabyte hard disks that are required. Quickly, right? Yeah, anybody? 2 into 300 into 10 to the power of 7 into 64 divided by 8 divided by 10 to the power of 12. Yes, Kundan Saha, Abhishek, Sancha Bir, Priyesh.
It's a 0.048 TB, sir.
Oh, it's okay. Okay, less than 1 terabyte hard disk, huh?
Right, sir.
Okay. In the earlier case, how many we required it in symmetric key? It was 3.6 into 3.6 crores.
Yes.
Right? You required 3.6 crores of 1 terabyte hard disk in symmetric key. But here he is telling the fraction of 1 terabyte hard disk is required. Only one fraction of hard disk. So less than that. Earlier you spent 18,000 crore rupees because each 1 terabyte hard disk was costing 5,000 rupees. That's what we approximated it. 18,000 crore rupees. But here you require only less than 5,000 rupees. So it is not a wonderful solution, right? N into n minus 1 divided by 2 has been reduced to 2n, right? 2n with the help of asymmetric key cryptography technique. Thank you, Dhananjay. Thank you for the wonderful answer. Right, we all can calculate it. So we'll stop here because I don't want to go because time is over into RSA and then how practically the symmetric key and asymmetric key will be used together. Right, if you look at the SSL, secure socket layer, it exploits the good of symmetric key cryptography. It exploits the good of asymmetric key cryptography. Asymmetric cryptography has solved both the problems of symmetric key. That is, there is no key exchange here. Right, my public keys myself will declare it. Right, my private key I'll keep it myself secret. So there is no key exchange over here in asymmetric cryptography. At the same time, n into n minus 1 divided by 2 in symmetric has been reduced to 2n, and we have done some simple calculations and we found that it is a use saving. The number of keys required has been drastically reduced in the case of asymmetric key cryptography. But what are the problems of asymmetric keys when you look at working of RSA or any other algorithm? Right, you will find that they are computationally very expensive. Because RSA algorithm alone, if you see, you have large multiplications and large modulus operations. Right, so multiplications and modulus operation, that is multiplication and divisions, they are computationally very expensive algorithms. So the asymmetric key cryptography techniques are very slow compared to symmetric key cryptography techniques. So exploit the good of symmetric key, exploit the good of asymmetric key. And one of the example that I have given you is SSL, right? Secure socket layer. When you look at its functioning, they utilize both of them in the functioning of secure socket layer. This is called combined cryptography, right? Exploit the good of symmetric, exploit the good of asymmetric key, and use it for the best of its capabilities. Right? With this, I'll stop over here and over to Dr. Sangram.
So any more questions from participants?
Those small tasks you can solve it because I'll pass on this PPT to Dr. Sangram. He will share it with you, and you can try it out manually. You can write it out with the help of some programs. Also, you can write. They are all challenging programs. Don't take it lightly because I have given large numbers. So handling large numbers in compilers like C, C++ may be very tough. Right, in Java and all, you may be able to do it by using some functions, but you try to do it on your own. Right, writing your own functions. Then you will be knowing it better how to do it. Yeah. So thank you all, wonderful participants. You are all right. Wonderful participant. Thank you, Dr. Sangram, for the.
Yes, sir. It looks like it's clear to all of you, all of them. So no more confusion is there. So thank you, sir. Future, one more, sir.
Oh, okay. Sancha, very good question, right? Future prospects of symmetric key AES for encryption in post-quantum scenario. Very good. See, once this quantum cryptography comes into play, even your RSA, which is very robust, right? That also may be broken. So if RSA can be broken, even your AES also will be a question mark. Okay. So it's a very good question. Once this quantum comes into play, right, in the coming years, this RSA, AES, right, we don't know what is going to happen to them. Some other cryptography, right, quantum cryptography things will come into picture, and we will be using, instead of DES, AES and RSA, we may be using some quantum cryptography based cryptography techniques for security purpose. Yeah, you're right, absolutely right.
That's why we had a session that on quantum cryptography.
Yeah, this is a very active area of research now, right? Those who are interested in research, you can pursue in this quantum cryptography.
Okay, thank you, sir, for being here in spite of your busy schedule. I understand that you have several administrative responsibilities and meetings. So thank you, sir, for being here. I hope your lecture was really motivated all those participants to focus their career in this area. Sir, we are also thankful. NIT Sikkim fraternity are also thankful for you for doing this kind of delivering lectures. And we look forward your physical presence also in our NIT Sikkim campus whenever this pandemic situations will be over.
Yeah. Thank you. I'll be happy to come because we are also fed up here, right? Staying only in Chandigarh.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
You are located in a very beautiful place, right? Okay. Thank you, Dr. Sangram. Thank you all the participants for your wonderful participation. Thank you. Thank you. Right? All the best.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So, my dear participants, so the last session of this day will commence from 4 p.m. onwards. So, in the meantime, you may take a break and please join within 3:55 p.m.
Okay, sir. Okay.